Let's have a look at question 17 in this video. It's still related to the question about Ivo, who knows 10 correct answers on the exam, and for the remaining 10 questions he will use the strategy of guessing. What's the probability that he will pass this exam? So he knows for sure 10 questions. He knows for sure the answers to 10 questions, meaning he's using the strategy of guessing only for the remaining 10 questions. So he needs to guess other questions. Now, how much does he have to guess? Let's go back to the question, because that was given all the way here. To pass the exam, 15 points are required. So that means that Ivo has to guess at least 5 more questions, because 10, it's already in his pocket, meaning that guess at least 5 more questions. Guess at least 5 more questions. Meaning that now our binomial distribution is going to be the probability of having at least 5 correct answers, given that we have 10 questions, because we're guessing from the other 10 questions. So other 10 questions, out of those we need at least 5 correct, with the probability of having 50% correct answer, because the probability of having a correct answer and an incorrect answer, it's still 50-50. So let's work out the math here. We look at the binomial distribution as usual, and we would have the probability that x is equal to 5 plus the probability that x is equal to 6 plus the probability that x equals 7 plus the probability that x equals 8 plus the probability that x equals to 9. Let me check if we have anything else. And the probability of x equals to 10. Probability that x equals to 10. Given that we have a sample of 10 options with a proportion of 0.5. Now, let's work out the math by taking the probabilities from the table. That would be equal to 0.2461 plus probability that x equals to 6 is 0.2051 plus the probability that x equals to 7 is equal to 0.472 plus the probability that x equals to 8 is equal to, sorry, 1172. I didn't understand my own writing. Apologies. The probability that x equals to 8, that's going to be 0.0439. The probability that x equals to 9 out of 10 is going to be 0.0018. And the probability that x equals to 10 out of 10 is equal to 0.0010. Now, if we add up these probabilities, we are going to get a probability of 0.6231, which is equal to 62.31% probability of passing the exam. The probability of guessing at least 5 questions from the remaining 10. Now, let's have a look if that makes intuitive sense. We know that there's a probability of 50% on average of getting correct answers. So just by the law of average, 50% out of the remaining 10 questions is already in expectations 5 more points. There's a 50% chance of passing. But then there's also the probability that he's gonna make it to 6 correct answers, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That's why this probability is boosting up to 62.31%. So that is pretty high, because he's in a good position. He already knows 10 correct answers, he has to guess another 10, and he only needs at least 5 correct questions from the remaining 10 ones. So that's a pretty doable deal. That's why this probability is so high. I hope this makes sense. Now, if we check with the answer key, we can see that the probability, the answer is 0.623, and that's exactly what we got. So the answer is true, and we are done.